what's going on? Let me do that. Look at that. Here I am, David Costa, the Renegade Aviator, and I am playing games here, running my own board in the background. So it is deadly when I hand fly and watch this music off. Look at that. Isn't that friggin' amazing? So as I mentioned, season 5, I guess we'll call this. I don't know what season it is, but we were gone for a while. I'm going to blame COVID, but it wasn't COVID, but that's what I'm going to blame. So during COVID, we went away, and now we're coming back. Aren't you thrilled? Isn't that amazing? What I'm doing on this first episode back for the new season, new format, new way of doing things. We just got off of a really cool a podcast, whatever the hell you call it, a vlog, a video blog. Anyway, I'm an old guy. We just did a really cool interview with Tony Lagatetta of the Reno Air Racing Association, and that video will be available soon that you can listen on replay. But in the meantime, I'm going to dispense with my face taking up the whole screen, and I am going to bring in first, ladies first, I'm going to bring in Mrs. Renegade Aviator. There she is. There's Mrs. Renegade Aviator. And there is the masked Avenger in our hangar, who has been seen on other videos lurking in the background that you may not have even realized. We do the Moses Lake Air Show podcast as well. And if you look really hard on one of them, you'll see a masked Avenger in the background. That's Ty Irwin, ladies and gentlemen. And looks like I have you muted, Ty, but let me unmute you here. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Now you're unmuted. Hey, Ty.
Hey, coming live from the hangar.
Live from the hangar. Laura's in the lobby. I kicked her out of the room. She usually kicks me out of the room, but this time I kicked her out of the room. And there's a pit bull on the bed next to me who's greatly bored by the whole process, staring at me now, looking at me. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Renegade Aviator team. And the whole purpose of this new podcast is each week I'm going to just go over some of the current events in the news, give my pontification on them such that they annoy some of you, probably most of you, and have some fun. Mrs. Renegade Aviator's laughing at me when I say annoy most people. It's probably her that gets annoyed first. But in the meantime, while we're here in the Silicon Valley creating a computer virus that'll shut down Facebook for another day, we have Ty is back in the hangar working on the jet. Ty, give a glimpse of the new paint scheme for the airplane.
All right, just kind of standing here, as you can see, we're bringing in here. This is the right side of the aircraft. It's really hard to see the skull there, but I'll get out of the way. And as you can see, this is down the side of the aircraft. We've added a lot of color, and then on up to the tail. Give you guys an idea. That's the logo there, and we are anticipating this showing the Air 5 matches our the new speed brakes, and then of course over the wings, and then into the nose of the aircraft to increase visibility and really show the jet for what she is. So a lot of hard work's been going into her lately. This just got done last week. And
hold on a second, Ty. Somebody put graffiti on the side of my airplane. Somebody wrote a message on the side of the jet. What the heck? We put the what?
We put the FU in fuel.
That is totally inappropriate. Who the heck would have done that? You know how many kids at the air show I always hear asking their parents, "Mommy, what does that mean?" And I just smile.
And it is That's the trademark, literally. There is a story behind it that is, it's very eclectic and very amazing. So, and it came into its own on its own.
That's right.
Right on.
One day we might share it with you. One day.
Yeah. Well, soon enough.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, look, see, I brought some articles here, so I'm not quite sure how to do this. So I'm going to start with something relatively benign. How about that? I'm going to start with something relatively benign. So look at that. I bring up Collins Foundation ends aircraft tours, which is a shame. In a serious note, right after the crash of their B-17 a while back, we all kind of saw this coming. And part of the reason I'm showing this first is because we are starting to go around to air museums and do shows, right? To record the great aviation museums that we have here in the U.S. And the only bad thing is we've done 2 or 3 of them now, and I've yet to produce one video. So way to go, Renegade Aviator. Win. So we got at least 2 air museums mad at us because I haven't gotten off my ass and actually produced the videos. But the reason I'm showing this is Collins Foundations used to fly some pretty cool airplanes, right? They had a B-29, I think, Ty, a B-17. They had an F-4 Phantom at one point, I thought.
They had the Messerschmitt 262, all that kind of stuff that they rebuilt. Yeah, iconic aircraft of the past.
Well, and it was one of those museums, of course, that would fly their airplanes. So the whole reason I'm bringing this up now is because they're not going to fly anymore. And so now you can go and take a look at the airplanes, but they're not flying them anymore. So, you know, what kind of ticks me off about this is, I mean, you know, obviously we don't want to see airplanes crash, right? I mean, it's a bad deal when paying riders or volunteers or anybody crashes in an airplane, but we are losing part of history with these historic aircraft when you see stuff like this, and it kind of things kind of fall. I'm not crying. I'm just wiping my eye here.
He's crying.
I'm crying, but you know what I'm getting at. I mean, when one organization starts to get shut down and they stop flying these airplanes, that's it. Laura went back when I was flying that DC-3 at air shows. We would tell people all the time, this is one of your last chances to fly on a great historic aircraft. So I guess where I'm going with that is, man, if you have an opportunity today to go out and see any of these flying examples of these old vintage warbirds, pay the money, take a flight, and stop bitching, or they're going to be gone. Thoughts?
Yeah,
Keller?
absolutely. I mean, I was just watching some on Planes of Fame. They pulled their pea shooter out last weekend, and when they were flying around with threatening storm in the background, and they were really excited that they could get that thing in the air. And that's a unique museum, but you know, you go to an air show like that. The Collins Foundation would have an aircraft there, and to fly in a DC-3, a B-17, a B-29. This stuff isn't going to be around forever, and it's a shame that that the foundation has gone this road, because these are living machines, and that's part of the history of the past. Is we should keep these things going.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I didn't realize that Planes of Fame flew the pea shooter. Usually when I pull my pea shooter out, I get arrested, but they get to go, and they ended up.
That's between the Mr. and the Mrs. Renegade right there.
Well, this is a whole different format. See, when I'm on other people's shows, I have to be nice, respectable. But this is my show, so I can do whatever I want. So anyway, enough of that. But on a similar note, let me bring this thing up, because it's kind of in the same in the same realm here, this is a quick article about the Millville Air Show grounded because they couldn't get a military jet act at their air show. And on the last podcast we just came off of, we were talking about the Reno Air Show, and they've got, the Blues coming, they've got the Snowbirds coming, and the Viper demo team coming. But there's air shows across the country that really rely on these military acts to make their show happen or not. And it's kind of a shame. I mean, this is a museum. It's the Millville Army Airfield Museum. I grew up in New Jersey. I'm well aware of this group and well aware of the airport. And it's a shame to see the whole air show canceled because people won't show up in great enough numbers if there's not a military act. And that's kind of, I mean, I don't want to say it this way, but shame on us as the air show fan, right? If there's an air show, get off your tail, pay the ticket price, go through the gate. You're not always going to get the Blue Angels at every air show, but there's a whole lot to see at an air show. For instance, you could see an older fat guy fly a TS-11 Iskra at an air show. That's way better than a Raptor.
And he actually goes out and walks among the crowd.
They do, and they run the other direction when they do that.
Here we are.
Well, but again, right? So here's another these museums and things like this. This was their event to kind of raise funds, but with the cost of insurance and everything else. So in the whole warbird mentality here, I just thought this kind of fit with that last article. So I'm going to go from that. Remember, I talked about myself being part of a mental case, and I'm going to go to this one. Pilots hide mental health issues so they don't lose their wings. What do you think about that one, Ty?
Well, it's, just for instance, I just threw this in the, I just got I mean, this kind of concerns me when we talk about this mental health and why it's become this prevalent thing in our society. And it used to be the issue was alcohol in pilots. Now they're looking at it from a mental health perspective, and it's like, okay, what manifested this and where did it come from and why? I don't know a lot of pilots that are going off the rails and doing extreme things, but this has become an issue in those environments, and I don't understand.
I'll tell you what. In the past couple of years, I've had to deal with pilots, and I do. What's that, Laura?
Sorry, I'm moving because people are talking behind me.
You don't need to say that on. We're live here. It's a serious show.
I know, and I'm just moving, so we don't have any background noise here.
So anyway, back on to this thing with these pilots and their mental health issues. I can point to more than one in the past couple years that I've had to refuse to fly with because their words to me was, I'm on antidepressants, I'm feeling depressed. And I said, then you shouldn't be flying. You shouldn't be in the cockpit of an airplane. We all have challenges. We all have things that go wrong. Boo-hoo, woe is me, right? I say, shut up, show up, be excellent. But, if you're taking antidepressants, I'm not a medical doctor. So before you ban me from whatever platform I'm on, I'm not a medical doctor. But if you're on antidepressants or if you got mental issues, stay the hell out of my cockpit. Is that harsh?
No.
No, I don't think so. I think it's being proactive to prevent an issue if somebody has an issue. And I think that's the responsibility of any good pilot is to, they need to understand themselves and be honest with themselves as well as to other people that they fly with. And I'm absolutely with you, that's the last thing we need is people flying around and having an issue. It's just, and
Well, yeah, their whole thing is, well, the pilots, they're going to lose their wings, or it's going to be really hard to get back. And I can't see who wrote this article. My eyes aren't that good right now, but whatever. Andrea, is that her name? I can't read it. You know, it kind of makes it seem like boohoo, woe was me, right? So the pilot, poor pilot, he has issues, she has issues. I just think we as a pilot group, we shouldn't stand for it. Yes, I realize that, every one of us has challenges in our lives. But for God's sakes, I don't know. I mean, it shouldn't even need to be said. But the reason I'm bringing this up, I always kind of tag things together, is this article here, right? 7 skills that every pilot should have. And the first thing is a command presence, right? We don't want to say that anymore, but as the PIC, I am responsible. I am responsible for every damn thing that happens on my aircraft. And, so if I'm not doing well mentally or physically, I am responsible. So it is not the FAA's job to mother hen me. I shouldn't have to check in with a doctor every 2 seconds. I should have the command presence to know when I'm capable to do this or not. The other one is people skills. Well, I failed there. Evidently, I don't have people skills. Those of you that have flown with me and have gotten the hurt feelings report, you know what I'm talking about. Have you ever seen that? The hurt feelings report?
Oh, no? Yeah, I know that.
All right.
I know what you're talking about.
Well, here's the other thing, though. So switching gears, the desire to know how things work. I can't tell you how many, and this is more prevalent in the new pilot group, the desire to know how things work. As we've gone to these automated cockpits, I don't know, and certain types of people, they just don't care. They don't care about how a hydraulic system works. They don't care about how an electrical system works. They have no skills in that regard. You can't be a good aviator without having that desire to know every inch of your aircraft and how it works. Ty, you work on airplanes, right? I mean, you've seen me jump up and down on people that won't look something up in the manual to figure it out for themselves. So I think if you're the kind of person that's not gadget oriented or not oriented to the mechanics of the aircraft that you fly, you've got no business being in the cockpit. Hell yeah, I pissed off crazy people and dumb people. Or I'm a
well,
and I have no people.
Well, and what do people skills have to do with the fact that it's your responsibility if you want to learn how a system works? It's your job to learn how a system works. We all have the ability to advance and learn. I mean, I learn something about this jet every week. Every week it's something new. It's a challenge. How do I solve this problem? How do we get around this? How does this system integrate into the overall picture of the airframe? The new systems, they're highly advanced for a very advanced world. They're high speed. They're designed they're not designed to just fly on their own. They have to have a human component. And it's the aircraft, for instance, an example of this is runway incursions. It's not the aircraft doing it, it's people behind the wheel. But you have to understand the system. It's all a system. And I think that's where the effort that goes into, even with me, studying for this and that, for a requirement by the FAA, requires a lot of time, energy, and effort on my part to make sure that the aircraft are safe. And what opinion is.
What if certain demographics don't want to learn about how an airplane works? What should we do about that? We need to be diverse in the cockpit. Wait, oops, I shouldn't have said that.
Well, I don't know. We have some. We have a document that said we're all created equal. Well, we all have, 10 of these. We got 10 toes. We got one of these. It doesn't really matter. It's arbitrary to me. I don't care. It's, there's effort that needs to be put in to make this stuff work. And I'm not a genius, but I do try all I can to understand something. And if I can't figure it out, I go and I try and find a resource or a source that can help me understand whatever it is challenge regarding aviation that I need to understand.
Well,
Yes.
look at that headline. Airlines look to attract more diverse pilots amid the shortage. So my question to the peanut gallery, and I've got the peanut gallery silenced right now in the background, but airlines look to attract more diverse pilots amid the shortage. And I think we're missing the mark. And I'm not going to get into the weeds on this thing, but you know, aviation needs aviators. We need people that love to fly airplanes. And because of a shortage, and we do have a shortage in pilots right now, but the shortage, I think, is caused a little bit artificially, and part of it is legit, I guess. But the other side of this whole thing is you don't use diversity to lower the bar, because women have been flying for many, many decades. People of all races, colors, heck, there's aliens flying, are they illegal aliens or are they legal if they're flying a UFO? I don't know. But anybody can fly, but to be an aviator, you need to have certain qualities. So instead of trying to be diverse, and I'm not going to go into the weeds of this and make this some kind of a political conversation, but instead of being diverse, we need to be excellent. And I think if we have the bar high and things, if it requires a lot of someone to make the grade, it's more attractive overall. So nobody worth being an aviator wants it to be easy. And I think that's what we're trying to make it do, that certain groups haven't been represented. So we should make it easier for them to get involved. It's expensive as hell to learn how to fly, but anybody can do it. There's a lot of study involved in being an aviator, but anybody can do it. But damn it, I mean, just to hire based on diversity, I don't think anybody wants diversity in the operating room or in the cockpit of an airplane. I'm not going to make it political, but I'm a bit hard-nosed with it because I talk to people that have gotten into aviation fairly easily and still bitch about how hard they have it. But that's just me.
Yeah. When you have someone's life in your hands, you want somebody who's very loves what they do and are very knowledgeable. So absolutely, airplanes,
but
surgery.
You know what? But it's a great thing. There's a lot of people that love to fly, right? But they have no business being in the cockpit. You know what I'm saying? So passion only gets you so far. And, there is a point in time where, you know me, Laura. I mean, I've looked at people square in the eye and said, this ain't for you. Get out. There was an incident we had at one of the operators I was a check airman with that she failed a check ride with me. I wouldn't sign her off. She ran into the chief pilot's office. Evidently, they found another check airman that wanted to give her a check ride. And then after she quote unquote passed, I was given the honor to fly with her on her first cargo run. And I promptly ripped her headset out of the airplane, threw her charts all over the ground, and left her there crying as I taxied away. So I'm not the most, again, people skills. But what I'm going with that is that's not a male-female thing. So I happen to say she in this event. But how many guys, Laura and Ty, do you know that, Ty, you'll recognize this when I cross my arms in the cockpit doing a check ride, and things aren't going to go well from there. And, I've been humbled in aircraft, and we all have been, but there's some people that simply don't make the grade, and diversity is mediocrity. Excellence is what matters in aviation.
Well, and Dave, it's I had this discussion last month with one of our clients, and he had some other professionals in there with him, and basically I explained to him, I said, I take this maintenance thing in this experimental world to you have to almost bring the bar level up, because every time these jets go up, it's basically, it's experimental. And that, to me, is an immediate, you got to bring the bar up. And, you know, the machine doesn't care anything other than it's supposed to operate a certain way. It doesn't know, it doesn't have that innate, it doesn't have that conscience where I do, where it's like, I have to make sure that this machine is here and that my skill level is here with it, so that whoever is flying in that jet comes home at the end of the day. And that's the important thing to me, is everybody gets to come home safe at the end of the day. And I think that's where the diversity of you know, getting people in aviation, they need to understand those basic principles, because if you want to be at that level, that's where it has to be. There isn't any, it doesn't care. The flying environment, the world of, as I call, gravity, where gravity bites, it is very non-discriminatory. We've we've lost friends to it. And that's the thing, is it doesn't care. And that's why my bar is so high.
Absolutely. So here's where it goes with this. You know, we need to stop worrying about this diversity side of it, because the people, I treat people as individuals, right? Everybody's an individual. We've got our strengths and our weaknesses, and let them stand where they are. But I have flown with excellent aviators my entire career, and what they looked like didn't matter anything to me. But whenever you go into a group of anything, there's a certain look and feel. And if you want to change that, be the leader, be that role model. So people say, well, I didn't have any role models. So we were at, what bar were we at, where there was a woman that was talking about how she goes, I wanted to be an airline pilot, but I couldn't because I was female and females weren't allowed to be airline pilots. I said, that's bullshit.
And she became a hairdresser.
That's bullshit, because
I remember that.
She became a hairdresser. And I go, well, way to go, honey. You didn't try very hard. We all face challenges. But what I'm getting at is those that achieve anything despite the challenge have earned a place. And there's nothing in aviation. I've been around aviation for decades, and we respect people that have met the same bar. And we welcome them. We don't care what the color of their skin is or what kind of genitalia they have. We don't care, because they met that standard. But by making the bar diverse, what we do is we hurt the very people that we're trying to raise up. So, you know, as I've talked to inner city kids, you know, I've said, look, the only difference between me and you and your teachers or whoever they're listening to is they don't believe you can do it. So they give you a leg up. They give you a false expectation. They give you some affirmative action. But if you really believe in individuals, you will hold the bar high, because that's how you build self-esteem. You earn it. You earn it by being excellent. So I'm not going to beat this to death, because we are coming up to the end of our segment here. But you know, this is our new format. I don't know. What do you think, guys? I'm only talking to you right now.
I like it.
All right.
Good.
Well, we keep it short, and then I think if I go too long, I get somebody mad. Probably Mrs. Renegade Aviator. What was if I get on a rant somewhere, she'll say, you get so sharp. Oh, hold up our new decals before we can end it. Hold up the new decals. So if anybody see that new that's 4 inches, that's the new Renegade Aviator logo. We kind of updated. It's big, yeah. So Janessa Link was our graphic artist that changed the logo around, but kind of modernized it a little bit. My daughter actually, Tatiana, drew the original logo, and then through the years we've kind of morphed it. And this is the new logo that's on the jet. So here's what's going to happen: if you go to RenegadeAV8R.com and you say, hey, send me the let me make us all equal here. Look at that. There we are. If you say, hey, send me a free decal, just give me your name and address, and I'm even paying for the postage, which makes Mrs. Renegade Aviator annoyed because I paid for the postage. But I'm going to send you a free decal, and I'm going to mail it to you for free with a little love note from the Renegade Aviator. How about that?
And you only know about this if you made it to the end of the show.
Right. You got to make it to the end of the show. And all you said is, look, you offered me a free sticker, you cheap son of a bitch. Send it to me. If you put something like that, make it funny. You know, or, you know, say, you know, why aren't you helping Ty in the hangar? I don't know, something like that. We will send you a free decal, which you must emblazon proudly and send us a picture of. That's my ask, that you send us a picture of where you stuck the decal. So if you stick it on the side of a Blue Angel jet, not that I would never, but if a coincidence happened and the Renegade Aviator ended up on, I don't know, Air Force One, maybe, you know,
Yeah.
a picture of it. Again, just be a coincidence. I would not have recommended that. Anyway, we're at 31:42. I'm gonna end it for me and my team here at Renegade Aviator. This is David Costa. I am the Renegade Aviator. See ya. Oh, I got to press end stream. There you go.